Hello, and welcome all to episode 58 of the Spooky Horror Show podcast. I'm your host, Sean. I'm joined again by Anthony. And as your weekly reminder, this season's films were chosen solely based on their box art. Tried to make sure we didn't see the films beforehand when we chose them. So this way we can go in completely blind and figure out whether or not the box art is as good or bad as the movie that we are watching is. And today we are going to be talking about 2008's Japanese action, comedy, sci-fi, horror film. Yeah, Tokyo Gore Police. Remember, if you'd like to support us, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow us on any and all of the podcast services. You will see a QR code below us that's up all the time. And just scan that, and it'll take you to all of our links with all of the housekeeping out of the way. Anthony, how has your week been?
Dude, it blows. It's so boring. It's slow at work. It rains all the goddamn time, so you never can get anything done that you need to outside. So It's just fucking boring. That's what my week is. Boring.
I feel like I wanted to try to get the last week's podcast edited like way sooner, and then I don't know what happened.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space came out.
You know what? Yeah. I've been playing early access, which don't trust the people that are shitting on the game.
It's actually
online.
a fun game. They're putting it on the same pedestal as Dead by Daylight, and it's not.
Yeah, that's not the game it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be more like Friday the 13th. It's just you have the sweaty tryhards from Dead by Daylight coming in and be like, you're doing this, and it should be. You have to balance this. It's a fun game. That's all it's supposed to be. Like, winning doesn't fucking matter. There's no fucking leaderboard for you have X amount of wins. It doesn't fucking matter.
It's just fun going around. And when you're the clown, you have the really squeaky shoes. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh, every time I'm running around, it's like,
yeah.
It's so fucking funny. But yeah, I was playing a lot of that. That's a lot of fun. Haven't really been watching that many horror films. I've been looking for stuff to watch, and I haven't found anything.
My eye.
Yeah. It's like I keep trying. I don't know. Maybe I'm burned out from watching all the films on this fucking list.
Yes, ones, yes. But yeah, no, I'll go through Tubi and fucking Freebie or whatever the fuck the other one is, and
yeah,
I was like, these don't even like catch my eye.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's pretty much all I've been doing, and now I've been reorganizing the office for the past 2 days. It's better. It's in a lot better shape.
Getting there.
So production facts.
Oh god.
We're gonna have more because, first of all, like, it seems so weird to say that this is like 2008 because I honestly felt watching this.
So much
this was
older.
Like, I feel like this was like 95. Like, that's the vibe I got. But no.
I feel the commercials make it feel older too.
Tokyo Gore Police was co-written, edited, and directed by Yoshihiro Nishimura, and is a remake of an independent film he made prior called yeah. Well, it was like one of his like independent films. He didn't really have the money. It was called Anatomia Extinction, I think that's how it's pronounced. The movie came about when he was approached by Media Blasters, an entertainment company based in New York City, while working on the special effects for Noboru Iguchi's Machine Girl. They asked if he was interested in doing another film, so he remade his other film now that he had like a budget. Fight choreography was handled by Taku Sakaguchi, who had worked with Nishimura on the film Meatball Machine. The film stars, bear with us because this is the first time I'm having to actually read these names out loud after writing them down. The film stars Ihai Shina, Itsuji Itao as Keyman, and Shun Sugata as the police commissioner. Based on the box art, Anthony, what were you expecting from this movie?
I feel like I got what I was expecting, but not really. Like, I was expecting it to be like she looked like she was like the superhero of it, and like she killed like zombies and stuff like that and monsters, and this turned out to be a lot worse than anything I could have expected. Like, I honestly wasn't expecting this in any way. Like, I knew the aspect was gore. I'm like, all right, I got that. The Tokyo police thing. I was like, okay, cool. So it'll probably be like, you know, like the girl Catholic school girls take on a bunch of zombies or something, and they help the police or something. No, that's actually nothing close to what the thing is. It's actually the completely nothing that you would expect realm, and it's very vivid and imaginative.
I don't know. The box art looks cool and epic. It doesn't really tell you what the
Doesn't tell you what's
about.
inside. Yeah, it doesn't.
But yeah, like
right, you expect it to be something like, you know.
I know that they classify this as let me scroll. They
Horror
classify
comedy.
this as an action comedy sci-fi horror film.
Yeah.
I don't really see that. I
don't
see
see
it
too much
as an action
comedy.
film. I don't really see comedy unless
I
it's
see
just like the
horror.
body horror is supposed to be taken as comedy. Sci-fi, I guess, because of the
Is
stuff.
there
But
monster
like
stuff?
the fact that they call it a horror film, I don't know if it's just
It's a
supposed
gore
to.
film.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just saying that and classifying it as that simply because
they
of
do
the
that
body
a lot.
horror and stuff.
Yeah, they do that a lot. They'll take gore and to be like, oh, it's a horror film. Like, it's a gore film. It's different.
But I mean, the ground that she's walking on in the box art it looks goopy,
It looks goopy.
So-
It is definitely a goopy movie.
and there's a lot of goop in that movie.
There's a lot of goop in this movie.
So
I do
don't know.
not gag very often at gore. This one was not an okay one. Was like 2 or 3 times.
I'm not a fan of the body horror
Sounds.
genre. Sounds, yes, but it's only
There was some
specific
moist
sounds. I don't like body horror because it doesn't feel like when you're making a movie that's body horror, like as the main genre, I feel like you use that as a crutch to not really have a story, and I don't really
there's your
feel
effect.
I don't really feel that there's much of a story going on in
this one, no. There's very
It's
the only
it's-
thing it holds on to is the repeating of going into I guess we could say it like spoiler, the whole dad thing.
Yeah.
Like the commissioner dad. That's the only thing that ever went back to a script per se.
yeah.
Everything else was so fucking random. It really just
Yeah.
didn't make sense.
Because what is it? It's
But I did say maybe it's a loss in translation for us, not
yeah,
growing up in that culture, you know?
yeah, but even still,
It's still fucking weird.
like it doesn't really make sense, the whole thing, because the monsters that the Tokyo police force are fighting are people that have been infected with shit, and then they're called engineers for some reason. That
Because
already
they have
doesn't
a
make sense.
key. Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
a key and seems to be inserted, so they're not really engineers, they're more or less like puppets or robots.
Yeah, and then the
That
whole
guy
time,
should be called the engineer.
yeah, like, and he's called Keyman, which doesn't even make
He-Man,
sense.
which
It's
I still
because
think is lost in translation.
he flesh and does like whatever, no one cares. But then the main chick is
Infected.
it's main to make it seem like she's the only one like this, that you
Yeah.
have the Tokyo police force, they've been privatized, and now they're called
And she's
engineer
the
hunters,
gore, yeah.
and they go and they'll kill all these monsters. But the main girl, I believe her name is Ruka, she is like, she doesn't wear
the person.
all of this like body
Yeah.
armor and shit, and she goes around and she's like
Does her
a
thing.
skilled fighter and everything, and like does all this stuff. But then it's like at the end, when like you come to this climactic like battle and all this stuff's happening, you suddenly see that there's more people that are exactly like Ruka,
Like her. Yeah.
that you've never even seen in the entire like you don't see them until like the last
Where are
5
they?
fucking minutes
Yeah.
of the film, and it's like,
Were they on
well,
another call? Like, what the fuck's going on?
yeah, like you've never said that like anyone else like her existed, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh,
Very
well,
much
no, you see,
implied that she's like
there's a
the
team of
only
people that are
special
just
one.
like her.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
And they have the
it-
weirdest fucking uniform too.
Yeah, I think it was just because make them sexy, and it's like, whatever, man.
Probably.
All right, yeah, let's get into the plot. I just want to give a little context about what we're about to see. In this version of Japan, a mad scientist known as Keyman, he creates a virus that mutates humans into monstrous creatures called engineers. These creatures sprout bizarre biomechanical like weapons from injuries that they
Flesh
have.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So to deal with the
It's very
engineers,
weird.
the Tokyo Police Force has been privatized, and they form a special squad called Engineer Hunters. The Hunters are a private, like quasi-military force that uses violence, sadism, and street-side executions to maintain law and order. Basically means that they're just a whole bunch of fucking assholes.
Crazies.
So now we open on like colorful flowers in full bloom, children playing and having fun in a carnival when Ruka, the main woman that we're going to follow in this film,
Antagonist.
wakes up in a dystopian Japan. The cops are ordered to go in and take out a chainsaw wielding engineer, and while the riot squad goes up to the rooftop to take care of it, Ruka sits in the car cutting herself until some like
Right.
blonde chick on TV gives her like the go ahead to go and join them.
Don't understand that.
It wasn't
Like,
even
does it give
cuts.
her power? No, it's just like chop, 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 chop.
I think it's supposed to be like some sort of like control thing, kind of like what cutters usually do. My only thing is the depth that box cutter was
Going
going
would have made
in?
some impression.
yeah, she wouldn't be able to then go up and go fight this person. Like she's sticking, like the box cutter's like going into her arm.
Yes.
Like the shroud of it is like deep in her arm. Like it didn't make sense. It becomes one of those things where it's like it starts off with that, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a fucking
one of
movie like
those.
this where they have no real idea what they want to do. They just want to make it gross, and it's like, all right, I'm already checked out. But Ruka is an extremely troubled loner that is very skilled at killing engineers. She uses a rocket launcher to quickly get herself on top of the roof where the
Oh my God.
where the engineer is still killing members of the riot squad. I need to ask, you've watched Naruto, right?
Yeah, not a lot.
Does this music sound like it's from Naruto? This sounds like
Little.
Naruto
I'm
battle
not as
music.
frequent. Yeah, I'm not as frequent as a Naruto fan. Like, I really didn't watch much of it.
Oh, you should watch it. It's so good. Yeah, so Ruka uses the monster's own chainsaw to dismember it before finishing it off with her katana. Back at, I guess, HQ? A weird
Well, it's
hunchback
privatized,
coroner?
so it's probably just like their base.
But back there, a weird hunchback coroner guy works on the chainsaw engineer
Yeah.
that Ruka killed. The coroner finds a fleshy, key-shaped tumor inside of it, verifying that it is indeed an engineer. I'm pretty sure the fact that he has a fleshy chainsaw arm would verify that he's an engineer, that you wouldn't need to then dig
In
around.
which he
like,
has something attached to
It-
his hand in a similar way, so like you know for
Yeah.
a fact it's an engineer.
Yeah, because I can understand if like you have to take it back to like verify if like she killed the engineer and it changed back into a human, and then it's like, oh, is this really an engineer? And then you cut into it and it's like, oh yeah, the key tumor thing is there. It's like, okay, that makes sense. But like being like, oh, we have to verify it. It's like, what are you talking about? That's like later
Yeah,
when
you
you
know
see
for a
like
fact.
the alligator vagina fucking leg thing.
Oh my
It's like,
god!
is it an
that thing.
engineer? Yes, it's a fucking engineer. It
No,
has
you're going
alligator
like that.
vagina legs. Like, what are you talking about?
Use your fucking head, dude.
Also, I would have thought that the sheer act of filling it full of holes and then it regenerating and forming, you know, a fleshy chainsaw
No.
hand would be enough to confirm.
No,
It's
that
whatever.
wasn't enough for you.
Ruka heads to a pub to get a glass of orange juice. Okay. The bar owner spots the bloody
That's
bandages
so
on her
weird.
arm, and we see that most likely after her father died, Ruka was lost and hurting herself. When a couple of guys approached her in an alley to see if she was all right, and then they offer to take her to a hospital, a bar owner appears and chases them away, probably because they
Yeah.
weren't going to take her to the hospital, they were going to rape her. Was she like 18 when her dad died?
I can't
It's
tell.
it's so hard to
hard
tell.
to guess and get an age, considering they
Yeah.
almost look very close in age.
Yeah.
So you don't know how far it was, but I'm gonna think it was relatively close. Maybe 18, and now she's like in her 20s.
Yeah, I guess. Because like I'm assuming that the bar owner
What do
has
you
been
mean?
looking after Ruka like ever since her dad died. Other patrons enter the bar. They spot her and her badge on her jacket and hurry out of the bar. She gets up to leave, but the bar owner tells her like it's okay, and they begin to have like this heartfelt moment. And then Ruka gets a call over the radio and has to leave. Ruka helps the police. And when not doing that, she's obsessed with finding the mysterious assassin that killed her father. He was like, I guess like an old-fashioned like cop, because like how cops are now, he was basically, hey, you have to do the right thing, you got to follow the law, like all this stuff. He was that type of cop, and assuming he was killed because he wasn't like the same way. And he was killed in broad daylight too. I'm also assuming that it was her dad that was the cop whose head we saw explode in the dream in the beginning of the film. Right?
Well, it's very much implied that, so it's safer to assume that it is.
Slowly making her way through this like new location that she was called to, she encounters a man walking an amputee as a pet.
Yep.
I guess it's so fucking weird.
Yep. It was some weird like Hellraiser S&M weird thing that later on says he, but it's very clearly not a he, but you don't know because it could be like lopped off. You don't know.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking weird. It was so fucking weird.
It's honestly just, it's one of those things where it's weird for weird's sake.
Yes.
Like there's no reason for it.
I don't know what it meant. I didn't know what it mattered to the story to have this weird mutilated person on a fucking leash in S&M bondage.
And it always takes me out of it too. Like that's the big problem. Like you sit there and you're watching this and you just like, you know, you could have done this like any other plethora of ways. Like you're a cop, you're supposed to be protecting people, but like you're clearly one of the bad guys because like no. It turns out this is her boss. He's the commissioner, and it's her co-workers throwing her
birthday party.
She remembers her 11th birthday when her father was still alive and brought home a cake. While her mother was prepping food, Dad calls his wife over to join them, and she turns around revealing a bloody knife and begins cutting her forearm, and she just keeps yelling, "What did you say was wrong with me?" Again, all of this is very confusing.
It is. There's no context to it.
Because it's like, is he trying to calm her down and wrap her arm?
Or is he trying to control her and like get like after her?
It's all weird. We then get a match cut of someone having their arm untied and then a pink motorized dildo, right? Like that's all that it was. It was like the arm was untied and then it's a dildo. Yeah.
And this poor girl crying in the corner with this sweaty, nasty dude in a.
Yeah, I think that's called ugly bastard porn. That's like what the deal is. A young prostitute is finishing up with her client when her madam comes in demanding more money for him going over his allotted time. She tells the girl to head up to room 307. She heads up and is greeted by a mysterious man that presents her with a tumor key. The madam is heading towards what I assume is a subway terminal while setting up another client on a phone. In the bathroom, she's accosted by, I believe, the same dude that was in the hotel room, and he stabs her with a giant needle with baby bottles on the end to collect blood, I guess.
Blood, yes.
It's like, what does this have to do with it? I
don't know. It drains the body. I don't know.
It's like,
and then later on, it's like dismembered and shit, but I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like it's all cut up and like put in like bins, right?
Yeah, like it doesn't.
It's all fucking weird. The madam pulls on her personal safety alarm, and Ruka gets the call. She receives the new case and heads towards the subway where she finds the aftermath. Like we just said, she finds her body stuffed into a box and all her blood drained with a key symbol carved into her arm. Ruka gets dressed up to go somewhere and gets on. Did she get on the subway? I think she did. Because then she spots like a creepy ass person, probably an engineer, chomping down on bugs. This is disgusting. There was like, and then they do like this fucking close up of it, and I'm just like, fucking, just please, just stop.
And the bug like comes out of his mouth. I'm like, oh my god.
Like, spend the time to like actually write a script and just be like, oh, what if we have like, just write a script that actually makes sense. Because so far the story doesn't make any sense. While all of this is going down, some perv cops a feel, and she grabs his hand, drags him off the train, out of the station,
it wasn't.
and into an alley. Yeah, and then cuts off his hand, and then his hands, and then gets back on the train. I don't know where she was supposed to be going, because like she got all dressed up to go somewhere.
I don't think she ever goes to the place she was supposed to go.
Yeah,
if I'm not
so
mistaken.
it's like I don't. It's just like, hey, we have to have a scene here. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. She falls asleep on the train, reliving another memory of her father watching a masked man hold a gun to his head before pulling the trigger. When she wakes up, the creepy dude from the hotel room and subway bathroom is sitting across from her. He gets up and walks away as she follows. She loses him, but finds another body stuffed in a box with like bottles of blood laid out in a circle.
Yeah.
It's after this she races off the train to follow this mystery person. to, I'll say, a dilapidated hallway, and then they engage in combat. Turns out this old weird dude is Keyman. Ruka gains the upper hand only by slicing his face. Nothing that bad or anything. Probably just needs some Neosporin. When he grabs his hair and wrenches his head back, ripping his face from the eye sockets, mutating into a thing with cannons for eyes.
Oh my god, it's so fucking weird. Did we pass Dick Dude yet?
I don't think we're up there. I think Dick Dude happens at the brothel, because I'm pretty sure that's where the chair pissing on people is.
It's just it's worse that it was my pick.
He begins shooting flesh daggers at her. Okay. Eventually trapping her against a wall where he
Wait a minute. Is this the finger ones? The finger?
Yeah, I think so. Because this is like when like she gets stuck on the wall.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He approaches her and pulls a tumor key out of his brain and infects her by inserting a key-shaped tumor into like one of the scars on her forearm before disappearing. She wakes up in a hospital with no signs of any abnormality. Downstairs, they inspect the top half of Keyman's face. He says the only option left is full extermination and that Ruka should go home and rest. So she passes out in her friend's bar, and while she rests, she slips a friendship bracelet on her wrist. Sure, man.
Yeah, I know. It was fucking weird.
It's so weird. And
I thought that what chick was like taking over and was a bad person now. Like a bad thing.
Well, I think she is. I think she's
giving out friendship bracelets when we made that shit in camp. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Making lanterns and handing them out?
No, I think it's because she cares for her. If I remember correctly, later we're going to...
Because, mind you, it's a 2.5 hour movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure at a certain point we learn that she is one of, like, the first experiments or something. Okay.
Is this, crotch?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have it written somewhere in here because I was like, why are there so many pages? And then as I'm scrolling through, I see photos because I started to get confused.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm assuming at some point she woke up and went back to work because she's having a scientist search for like a lower half match to the top half for Keyman. I don't know how. Just, you know, scanning that suddenly gives you the bottom half, but whatever. They learn Keyman was originally a scientist named Akino Miyama. Her boss, meanwhile, finds out that Akino is a match for the masked man that killed Ruka's father. So Ruka heads inside the rundown lab, like what's his face's Akino's rundown lab, looking for any clues as to where he could possibly be, and finds patient records for a Yoshika. Akino was doing an experiment on her, and now her titties are like monster mouths. She calls into the precinct to have them find all known apartments of hers for the last 10 years. At this point, I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure that Haruka is the bar owner that's been looking after her all these years.
Probably. That makes more sense now.
Now, IMDb doesn't have a character listed as Haruka Yoshioka. Yoshioka. Yeah.
That's supposed to be the bartender?
But they do have a character called Bar Independent Owner, which is the name of the bar. Because I'm pretty sure it's called like Bar Independent or something like that. That's the name of the bar, and she's the owner, and it's played by Ikuko Sawada, who resembles the patient photo and the bar owner. As a heads up, I'm cutting out a lot of stuff that's just stupid, like the weird commercials that keep randomly playing.
Oh my god, yes. It's just they put in random commercials like oh, it's accessorized like wrist cutters and stuff. It's just like a parody to really bad cliche type of commercials in between like scenes.
Yeah, it's just I understand it's a lot like
trauma videos.
Yeah, this feels like this is from the Trauma universe. But no, it's a lot like the commercials from the Grindhouse films, like
the
Robert Rodriguez Quentin Tarantino film, like the weird things, but these are just stupid. And it's like they keep like randomly intercutting. There's no real context for them, so I was just like, I don't fucking care. It's at this point we are inside of a strip club. One of these strippers slash hookers in there has the same monster mouth titties as Haruka, but the face shape is all different, so that's definitely not her. This whole sequence is gross, and it's capped off with one lady engineer revealed to be shaped like a chair with no head, and to the delight of the patrons, she proceeds to piss on everyone.
No.
And this is the first scene that
graphic
comes to mind when you asked if it was okay for you to watch this with your kid in the room, and I was like, probably not. Yeah.
This was definitely not one of those things that you can like get away with a kid. I don't even think people should watch it, but yeah, that's another thing.
Meanwhile, while visiting the strip club, the police chief picks one of the engineer strippers to have some sexy private time with. He picks the titty monster mouth lady because she's the most attractive one there. While she goes down on him, he notices Keyman there, and she bites off his dick. And then
like Lowena Bobbitt, like off the like whole thing.
And then Keyman drills into his leg. He manages to fight back enough to pull his weapon out and start shooting, but she jumps in front of him and takes all the shots for Keyman while he gets away. The chief tries to crawl to safety, and the woman comes back to life with now her lower torso being turned into like a crocodile. So now her pussy is now like a crocodile mouth. She hunts him down and dismembers him. He manages to get a hold of his gun and kill her, but he's still badly wounded. Keyman approaches him and stabs him in the chest with a key tumor thing and infects him with the virus. At this point, Ruka is making her way down the list of addresses but finds nothing. My main thing, they called him, I guess he was the chief because the other guy is the commissioner.
I don't really understand how that goes.
I don't know.
With the rankings of that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The chief heads back to HQ and ends up massacring, I guess this is like the main precinct, with his sword arm and cannon gun cock.
Oh my god, dude. It's so bad.
How did he drive his car back to the precinct with his
There's so
gun
much
cock?
more. I don't understand any of it.
I can understand if like during the fight, his dick turned and like turned into it. But it's like he got out of the car and was walking with this giant like gun cock. Like it just didn't make sense.
Cock out everywhere.
His attack causes the Tokyo Police Commissioner to order a citywide crackdown on engineers, which basically means that like the riot squad people are basically going to be
kill everyone,
driving around indiscriminately executing anyone they suspect of being. Doesn't matter if they are one or not. They're gonna kill them, rape them, dismember them, like do all sorts of stuff. Ruka confronts Keyman at his home. There she learns the truth about their past. Akino's father was a police sniper who was forced to resign after a failed operation. He was desperate to keep his family out of poverty, so he agrees to assassinate Ruka's father, who was leading a rally against the privatization of the police force. So his dad killed her dad because he didn't want the police to become what they are now, and he was actively trying to like fight and stop that.
Well, they couldn't have that now, could they?
Shortly after gunning down Ruka's father, Akino's father was killed by the police commissioner, the real mastermind of everything. Determined to avenge her father's death, Akino injects himself with the DNA of several infamous criminals, turning himself into the Keyman.
No, the Keyman.
Realizing they are seeking vengeance on the same person, Ruka slices Akino in half with her katana and heads back to the precinct. And it's like, okay, that's weird. Like, why are you killing him?
Yeah.
Like, he would be someone that you could have on your side.
No.
And then the other thing was the thing that's mutating everyone. Keyman was working with like serial killer DNA and stuff, and somehow that turned into key tumors that mutated people.
I guess they're evil.
None of this makes sense.
I know. The evilness.
It's like, I understand.
A tumor.
I understand that, it's supposed to be like all gonzo and fucking and gross and shit, but like you can have a coherent story mixed into all of this. Like you don't need to just have it feel like you're just making shit up as you go along. And like you said, it absolutely can be a translation issue.
Yeah, I usually
But
find
even if it's not, the scenes that we're getting in the order that we're getting them is the order that the director put forth.
put them.
And they don't make sense. So even if like dialogue that like we're reading and seeing and like hearing isn't what is actually supposed to be said,
still was made
the footage that we're getting to see just doesn't make sense in any sort of context. On her way back, she witnesses the police brutalizing civilians accused of being engineers. A lot of them aren't. We get to see another hot engineer hunter who fights the schoolgirl prostitute from way earlier in the movie,
like towards the beginning.
This fight ends when the schoolgirl prostitute melts the engineer hunter with her acidic titty milk.
Titty milk. Oh my god! It just that was the other scene that got me.
This has got to be just like weird.
This
has got to be like weird fantasy shit.
It has to be, because that made me gag. That scene
like,
made me gag.
It's just like, oh yeah, and then we have this hot chick and her titties are out, and then she squirts her milk, and then she melts her. It's like, all right. It's just like a fucking 12-year-old is writing this. They're like, oh, it's so cool. But I do wish that we saw more hunters like this chick and Ruka. It makes more sense instead of like the riot police, because it could either be like everyone involved is a piece of shit, but Ruka still has some sort of humanity, because the only reason she's doing any of this is because she wants to find like who killed her father, whereas everyone else it just wants to kill people. Like they don't care. And like we've seen stuff like this where it's people are bad just for the sake of being bad, and it's like, all right, that's kind of boring. But as I said in the beginning, up until this point, we're like at the end of the film, and we're just now finding out that there's other people that are like the same as Ruka. Like they don't dress in all the body armor and go running in. No, like they have like swords. They have like their own fighting technique and style and shit.
Their little guild going on.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. A main thing is because like with the armor, they're just tanks running around. But the people like Ruka and this chick, they're so agile and they could do so much more shit. So it's like
they have none of that crap on.
Yeah, so it's like it'd be so much better to see those fights than just seeing a bunch of douchebags in fucking battle armor running around fucking beating on people for no reason. Instead of getting more shit with like the more agile hunters, we get scenes that drag on for entirely too long. And like gore for gore's sake, and stupid commercial interstitial fucking bullshits that should just be fucking cut out.
They just don't make any sense.
The police force is now going absolutely crazy and killing people, pretty much just to kill people. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Ruka sees her friend, the bar owner. She puts up a good fight, but is then drawn and quartered by the police guys. Ruka's left arm then mutates into this alien-like head with razor sharp claws before she like beheads the officers behind her friend's execution. It's weird. During her rampage, she's shot in the right eye by one of the officers, but her body quickly replaces it with like one of the biomechanical ones.
Looking things.
Ruka confronts the police commissioner, who admits to her father's assassination, but explains that upon learning of the key man and the engineers, he raised her to become the perfect engineer hunter as a form of atonement, because that makes everything better.
Yeah.
And also, how did you raise her to be the perfect engineer hunter when that entire like police riot squad thing are the engineer hunters as well, and you have other people like her that are agile hunters? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, she's not the only one.
But Ruka fights the coroner. God, this guy is fucking weird.
That guy is just fucking odd.
Yeah, he's using a Gatling gun of hands and restrains her against the wall. As he's reloading, her mutant arm shoots its tongue up and wraps around some conduit, and she uses that to ricochet the incoming fist back at him.
It's fucking stupid.
She makes her way up to the commissioner, and then he sends his amputee engineer fucking thing after her, who now had her missing limbs replaced with swords. She takes care of her fairly easy, and then he injects himself with drugs, and then they begin to duel, I guess.
It's the boss fight, don't you know?
Yeah, it doesn't take long for her to cut his legs off.
He's just that good.
He then injects his legs with more of the drugs, turning them into blood jet boots, I guess.
Oh my god! And this dude, yes, that's exactly what it looks like. It's so stupid.
She ends up dismembering and decapitates the commissioner, effectively bringing down his reign on the police force. Standing outside headquarters, the commissioner's amputee engineer is now by Ruka's side, and she has assault rifle limbs now. And the post-credit scene reveals Keyman is alive, having mended himself back with the help of the schoolgirl engineer with the acidic titty milk. And that is the end of Tokyo Gore Police.
Yay! Tokyo Gore Police.
Final thoughts.
Terrible movie. Do not see even if it's free. It's not gonna be easy for you to understand unless you've watched this shit like your whole life. Then it's just gonna be dumb as shit. It's just gratuitous gore for the sake of it, and it's not even that great, to be 100% honest.
No.
I've seen lower budget films that were better.
Yeah. When it comes to Tokyo Gore Police, oh hi Mark. I had always thought that I'd seen this movie before, because especially in high school, when I really started to get into like film, I was watching shit from like everywhere, and I saw so many like amazing Asian horror films, and then there were like a slew of like just weird ones. Like there's I think it's called Machine Gun Girl.
That one sounds familiar.
I think there's one that's like Frankenstein Girl versus Vampire Girl. It's so fucking weird, and they're all in like the same thing as this
genre.
But then when watching this, I realized I had never seen this film before. I've heard the title. I've never once seen this film before, because especially once we got to the human chair pissing on people, I would have 100% remembered that scene, because that scene is still stuck with me today. I did not like this movie, and I think it's mainly, besides the fact that there's like no story, I think it's like the over-the-top body horror gore that
with no context. You don't like
it just didn't make sense. It like body horror should be treated the same way as
any other of it.
Well, as nudity,
where it has some reasoning.
Where it's just not peppered. Like it's not all over the place for the sake of there just being the body horror and or nudity. Like there should be reasons for it. This way, it's once you start showing it over and over again, like it loses all meaning. Like there's no punch to it.
You're expecting it to happen,
and it's like I can deal with gore. Like it's fine. I could deal with body horror. Like I love The Fly. And that's a film amazing. Where it's
and
like
it's pretty gory.
Yeah, it's gory. It's the body horror is fucking disgusting, but it's not like constantly. It's like there's a story being told, and as the story's being told, the body horror is like peppered in. Like his transformation is peppered in until it's like the end of the film when it's like all out. This is just like the fact that like you open with an exploding head and then this chick taking
you set it up
like one of these and sticking like this far into her arm. It's like it's in like this. Why is she cutting that far? Like that doesn't make sense. Like it sticks out the bottom. She's gonna die from that. She's not surviving that.
And nobody addresses it either.
Yeah, like it's just so dumb. And then it you know, you get the commercial of like the hey, fucking color coordinate your fucking cutting and
terrible.
Shit. And it's like, so what you're
bad.
saying is like this society just like cuts themselves instead of dealing with the shit that's going on in their lives. They just fucking cut themselves. It's like I don't fucking care.
I can cut myself with a dolphin shaped one. Like what the fuck?
It's kind of like you know, people like the Human Centipede. When I bring up that I don't like it,
I don't like that movie.
Yeah, they go, oh well, you probably don't like body horror. And again, I love The Fly. Fly is a great film.
Yeah,
my problem comes down to if you look at the context of Human Centipede, you get some storytelling in the beginning, but once they are officially attached to each other ass to mouth, which is probably like the back half of the film. It's just
So weird.
people eating, people shitting into each other, into like the next person's mouth and everything, and it's just screaming. It screams and mumble
It's not really a
screams.
movie.
Like that's it. That's all it comes down to, and it like loses it there. And I feel like this is the same thing. Tokyo Gore Police is disgusting and gory, but it's just to be disgusting and gory. Like there's nothing to it. And I know once this goes up, we're gonna get
People are gonna get bitched at.
we're gonna get comments like, "Oh, you don't understand," and it's like, no, I understand.
I understand.
Like, I get it.
It's just
but
not. It's just
the
too much.
I understand you love the film. That doesn't mean it's a good film. I love plenty of terrible fucking films. The majority of trauma films I love.
Are bad films.
And
but
they
they're
are
bad
terrible fucking movies.
Terrible
like these are
films.
movies that should have never seen the fucking light of day. Like they
I
are
don't understand
awful
why
fucking
they're still
films.
printed. Yeah, like and we saw them on VHS too. Like, oh god.
Even there, they have a story. This, it's like, I don't know what the story. Like, is it a revenge film? You know,
No,
like she's trying to figure
I
out
couldn't say
who,
that.
like who killed her father, but
Never get the answer to it. All the
yeah,
way into the
she
end.
doesn't get the answer until the end, and then she goes and fight, and she didn't even get the information herself. She found the guy that she was hunting before she ever was told that like he is the one that killed him. So it's like she didn't find anything out. She just went and he's like, "Hey, let's not fight, let's talk." And it's like, "I didn't kill your dad. My dad killed your dad for the commissioner, and then the commissioner killed my dad." And then it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go fight him, but let me kill you first, and then I'm gonna go."
First.
Why are you even killing him? At that point, it's like you guys have the same enemy. Like, who fucking cares? I don't fucking know. There was no need for a human chair pissing on everyone. Like,
no, or the titty milk girl.
yeah, when Ruka is cutting herself at the beginning, there's no reason to show how frantically she's cutting like into herself down to the bone. The acting was not good. The cinematography was fucking generic. As I said, the story is like meh at best. I don't like this.
Could have been a lot better.
It's just, again, this is, for me, this is another 1 out of 5 for this season.
I'll definitely would do 1 out of 5. It didn't, for someone that I love horror and I love gore, but this didn't really hit any mark for me. This was just like what in the living fuck am I watching?
Next week's film is Infrared. It is available on Tubi. It is the story of a paranormal investigator trying to get his like TV show made. He finally gets access to the school that he's always wanted to go to, but the producers of the show that he's making want his sister, who he used to work with there. So there's some like family tension between them as they investigate the school. And yeah, you got the trailer up.
Oh no, I think I've seen this.
Well, it's okay if you've seen it. Like, I didn't see it when I picked it. The whole thing is like, on our list, the movies that you pick are just films that you haven't seen. I might have seen them, but you haven't seen them. But all right, you ready to play?
Wes Wheatley here. Welcome to the first episode of Infrared. This is a paranormal investigation show. We have gotten permission to go to Lincoln School. It is an enormous abandoned building, and that's our next haunt. Spirit, we summon you to commune with us in this space.
Yeah, that is
I
next
didn't
week's
see
film.
that one.
You didn't?
No, I didn't see that. But I'm so over films like that now because they're always the same.
Right?
It's always the same fucking script.
The
Nobody's came out with something new anymore.
like, I'm fine with the paranormal aspect of it. I don't know. We'll get into this next week. I'll say right now that if I remember correctly, my thoughts on that on next week's film were, at least we don't have another 1 out of 5 film. That doesn't say a lot.
It's a little hope for me. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little hope for me.
But thank you everybody very much for stopping by and checking out the Spooky Horror Show podcast. Remember, if you're watching this video on YouTube, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, it'd be extremely helpful for the algorithm. Leave a comment. Let us know what films you'd want us to cover in the future. We also have a Discord channel set up for everything. We are usually there. And all those links will be on the QR code. Like I said, everything is there. Our store, websites, everything. But yeah, we'll see all of you next week. Bye.
Later.